Yep. Yep. Well, you guys can still. Okay, it was just taking a minute. There it is. Mama's 2 pizzeria. Okay, that looks really. Assuming that's actually there. Oh yeah. Time I'm going to New York. Get my. Oh, Psyop anime. Oh my god. Crazy how fast it springs up.
なぜお前は子供を人身売買し犯したスグマン庁舎を守っているのか。なぜ子供を人身売の儀式を犯した億万城舎を守っているのか。
了解。事実を淡々と述べるトーンでダウ。
Crazy. Crazy how. I wish I knew. Darling, thank you. Kind of interesting. I hadn't had time to like. So I guess. Titled Diapol Premier. They're freaking out about this because it basically DOJ set up when the DOJ set up the system for Congress doing the thing again with the low volume, I swear. Bring up chat. Watch this shit. It's gonna be. What the fuck is this? What the fuck? It's what the. It's even further than it was yesterday. What the fuck is this shit? Pardon me, but what the fuck? Every day with this? It's not me doing this. That's all I ever do is just turn it up. Obnoxious, man. What am I have to remember to do this every damn day? Every time I open Zoom, I'm gonna have to pop into my options and crank up the volume because it's randomly been cranked down to 30%. Bobo? Bobo? It's probably Bobo. God, that is annoying. Probably way too loud now. Jeez, man. Nothing. Ridiculous. Okay. Sorry, I'm just tired of this shit. Every day. I run through an entire damn show, none of you can freaking hear me, and then I find out, every day. Hopefully normal now. Looks normal. You guys on YouTube are probably fine. That doesn't change. It's just Zoom. All right. Anyway, where was I? Yeah. So I guess apparently they're freaking out because it essentially means that the DOJ, when they set up the system for all these Congress people to go look at all the files, all the big bad unredacted files, apparently they were logging everything that the Congress people did. Wonder why that might concern some of them. Wonder what they might have been searching for. Maybe certain names of certain people they're trying to protect. Their own, even. Maybe, I don't know, just any number of things that just wouldn't make sense for them to be searching for. Unless they had, some kind of inside knowledge. To say nothing, again, of their own name. If they're searching for their own name in the files. Like, yeah. So if that is indeed what went on here, bravo, Bondi. That is good stuff. Now I want to find the clip though. I want to know what they were talking about at the time. Let's see if we can find it here. They're all over the media airwaves, like bitching about this shit. They're really, something about it is really troubling them. Which you would think, I mean, well, you would think that they would be smart enough to realize that, yeah, that stuff was probably being logged, but B, you would think they wouldn't care, because why would anyone care? Like, yeah, I'm searching to help expose pedos. I'm digging through the files. I'm doing my job. Why would I care that people might know that I'm doing that? Unless, of course, I'm not doing that.
Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the
my
answer.
time.
So,
Mr. Chairman.
why
I have asked
didn't she ask Merrick
Yeah, I don't know if this is the exchange here, but let's see.
Garland this?
I am
twice
reclaiming
when he
my
sat in my
time, and
chair.
when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady's
I'm
reclaimed
I'm
her
not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentlelady. The gentlelady has 17 seconds.
Thank you. You're not going to answer this question, so let me just
Chairman,
say
I'll
this.
direct it to
What a
you.
massive
No, I'm
cover-up.
answering a
Mr.
question.
Chairman, will you restore her time? The witness
I'm
is
not going to get in
interrupted.
the gutter with this woman.
Stop the
She's
time
doing theatrics.
and let me have my time.
The gentlelady from Washington controls the time. The gentlelady has 17 seconds. You can proceed with your final
Thank you.
17 seconds.
What a massive cover-up this has been and continues to be. Donald Trump made the release of the Epstein files the center of his political campaign because he thought it would benefit him. Then you got into office, Attorney General, claimed to have a client list, only
Regular
to
order.
then say that there was no list. Your deputy, Todd Blanche, met alone with Ghislaine Maxwell and transferred her to a minimum security prison. And now you continue the cover-up. And I wish that you would turn around to the survivors who are standing right behind you and on a human level
Chairman,
apologize
Chair now
to them
recognizes the chair.
on what you have done.
Time of the gentlelady
yield
expired.
back.
The gentlelady, you have no time to yield back.
Theatrics.
We appreciate that. We appreciate.
So that was not it. It's the same one.
If you are willing, please stand. And apologize for what
Same one.
that disclosed not only the names, the emails, and the addresses of
Yeah, so I think it's this one that is up behind her right here.
survivors, but also
Is that it?
nude photographs and even the identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. There it is. There it is. Jayapal Pramila search history. Sorry, I know that looks upside down to you guys, but I promise you it's right side out to me when I turn my head this way. New Brazilian just arrived, sexy and cute, 19 years old. Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty. Who knows what that one means? It's definitely not spelled out in plain English or anything. Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty. I don't know why that one's there twice, but it is. From Kira Diktyar to Jeffrey Epstein, quote, I found at least 3 very good young girl, but we was so tired I will cover up this week. Meet this one, not the beauty queen, but we both likes her a lot. Who's this guy, Jar Jar Binks? I love the torture video from Sulai whatever, some Saudi kind of shit, to Epstein. Child exploitation and human trafficking task force PowerPoint on the Epstein trafficking. So I think there's like these numbers. Hold on, I'm not pointing the right spot. Up at the top there, right? I think they're all referring to specific documents, and I think these are just like brief descriptions of what each one contains. I think that's what those numbers are. I want to know about that name though, Kira Diktyar. Who dat? Oh, a model. A Russian model. Oh, do you live in the DC area, my dear? So you do. I'd love to know more about whatever the fuck that shit in that email was. Is she pregnant? She would appear to be pregnant. Unless that's just for the shoot. Can't. Yeah, it could just be a fake belly. That is the complete and total opposite of pregnant. Boy, she's got an odd face, doesn't she? Yeah. No idea. Well, there's Kira Diktyar, who was in an exchange with Epstein talking about, what was it again? I found at least 3 very good young girl. Meet this one. Not the beauty queen, but we both likes her a lot. Bizarre. Well, yeah, they're freaking out about it, so that's good. That's good fun. I like watching them pull their hair out over this shit. Okay. On to the main pile. Wee. Wee. Wee, wee, wee. Wee, wee, wee. Beep, beep, boop, boop. Beep, beep, boop, boop. Boop, boop, beep, beep. Here we go. All right. Tom Homan in Minnesota. Let's see it.
Say something about the various unfounded complaints I'm hearing about ICE enforcement operations. During the search operation, ICE has not arrested anybody inside a hospital. We have not arrested anybody inside of a school, an elementary school. We have not arrested anybody inside a church. As a matter of fact, the only ones that disrespected the sanctuary of a church were the agitators that have been arrested and prosecuted. And so far, we have 9 of them. However, those locations are not off the table. I said from day one, there's no sanctuary for a significant public safety threat or national security threat. But as far as those stories about ICE going into churches, arresting people in hospitals, it simply has not happened. And if you have a case where it happened, you let me know. Because all the digging I've done here, I can't find a single one. I want to say something about that this surge operation and our work here with state and local officials to improve coordination and achieve mutual goals, as well as our efforts to address issues of concern here on the ground, have yielded the successful results we have came here for.
There you go.
The Twin Cities and Minnesota in general are and will continue to be much safer for the communities here because of what we have accomplished under President Trump's leadership. I previously shared with you before I got here. Before I even got here, I met with, I said I was going to meet with the governor, the AG, and the Mayor Fry, Mayor Hurd, and I've done all of that. I've also met with various police chiefs and sheriffs. And one thing we all had in common was the importance of ensuring and maintaining public safety. Overall, we made a lot of progress through extensive engagement, meeting with them and other key stakeholders. And it is expected that those engagements and discussions will continue going forward in order to enhance exchange of information and more coordination. As a result of this surge operation, we have greatly reduced the number of targets for enforcement action. And many criminal aliens have been arrested and taken off the streets, including murderers, sex offenders, national security threats, gang members, and other violent criminals. Just this week, ICE arrested a criminal alien with criminal convictions for rape, acts with a child under 14 years of age with force, lewd and lascivious acts with a child under 14. ICE also arrested 2 criminal aliens with criminal sexual misconduct convictions, among other violent criminals. Through targeted enforcement operations based on reasonable suspicion and prioritizing safety and security, ICE will continue to identify, arrest, and remove illegal aliens that pose a risk to public safety, like we've done for years. And our officers will carry out those duties with professionalism, integrity, and compassion, like we've done for years. We will enforce immigration law against all persons in the United States illegally.
That's right.
Ability to arrest.
Now, the ability to arrest criminal illegals in the safety and security of jails throughout the state at the time that they're being released.
Criminal aliens and
Finally.
the safety and security of jails.
Well, we'll keep going. ICE here in the state have located a little over 3,000 missing unaccompanied alien children. Children that the last admin lost and weren't even looking for at all, apparently.
Arresting public safety threats and other priorities since this search operation began, as well as the unprecedented levels of coordination we have obtained from state officials and local law enforcement. I have proposed, and President Trump has concurred, that this surge operation conclude. A significant drawdown has already been underway this week and will continue to the next week. We have a lot of work to do across this country to remove public safety risk who shouldn't even be in this country, and to deliver on President Trump's promise for strong border security and mass deportation. Law enforcement officers drawn down from this surge operation will either return to the duty stations or be assigned elsewhere to achieve just that. With that, and success that has been made arresting public safety threats and other priorities since this surge operation began, as well.
Those that say we're backing down from immigration enforcement or the promise of mass deportations, you're simply wrong. Oh yeah, they're buying this. They're buying the space they need, for sure. Like warehouse after warehouse after warehouse, and they're going to need them. So,
Those that say we are backing down from immigration enforcement or the promise of mass deportations, you are simply wrong. Look at the data. Record number of arrests and deportations under President Trump's first year. And we'll continue that effort. Prioritizing public safety threats and national security threats doesn't mean we'll forget about everybody else. We will take action on everybody else. That's just a stone cold fact. For those that say we are backing down from immigration enforcement or the promise of mass deportations, for a period of time to close out and a small footprint of personnel will remain for a period of time to close out and transition full command and control back to the field office, as well as to ensure agitator activity continues to decline, and that state and local law enforcement continue to respond to ensure officer and community safety. Additionally, federal government personnel assigned to conduct criminal investigation into the agitators, as well as the personnel assigned here for the fraud investigations, will remain in place until their work is done. I will also remain on the ground for a little longer to oversee the drawdown of this operation and ensure its success. A small from day one, we're going to prioritize the public safety threats. Again, but prioritization doesn't mean forget about everybody else. That means you have a criminal alien here and non-criminal here.
This is a good one.
The criminal always comes first because he's the biggest threat to the communities. We're going to continue to enforce immigration law. We're going to get back to the footprint here, the normal footprint here. But there will be some security teams staying here, the QRFs, until we're assured that those agitators incidents either stay low or further decline. I'm not going to remove everybody out of the safety of our officers, but like I said, and Operation Metro Surge is ending. And in the next week, we're going to deploy the officers here in detail back to their home stations or other areas of the country that are needed. But we're going to continue to enforce immigration law. That's what the American people voted for. But it has to be a priority of criminals. And look, I hear all the hate about, you should arrest everybody. Oh, we are. But we're prioritizing those who are the biggest threat to our community. The rapists, the murderers, the child molesters. That's the right thing to do. But I'll say it again. President Trump made a promise of mass deportation, and that's what this country's going to get. But it's smart law enforcement to do target enforcement operations. Now, I've heard people attacking me using the word targeted. I sat for the last 2 months when I watched this operation, daily press briefings are talking about targeted Title VIII operations. Nothing changed, other than we're going to make sure they're targeted and make sure we know who we're going for, what their immigration record, what's their criminal history. That comes first. But enforcement of Title VIII is not going to end. If you're in this country legally, you're not off the table. And I think we're proving that if you look at the data.
Ha! GTFO.
You arrest public safety threats in the safety and security of a jail. Releasing public safety threats back in the public is just stupid.
Yeah.
And I've been arguing this for years. And I hope Congress takes action on sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. It makes sense. If you think about it, even the argument I hear, well, victims and witnesses of crime that are in the country illegally want to feel safe to come to law enforcement and to report those crimes without fearing that this law enforcement agency is working with ICE. That's a bunch of crap. Because victims and witnesses of crime don't want the bad guy released to the neighborhood either. It's ridiculous. We want access to the person that you chose, the local jurisdiction chose to lock in a jail cell. And we have that cooperation here now. It's the right thing to do, and it makes this community safer. This community is safer because we arrested 4,000 illegal aliens in this, over 4,000 illegal aliens here, many of them public safety threat, not all of them. As I said, we're going to force immigration law, but this community is much safer because of President Trump's leadership and the men and women standing on this stage. It shouldn't be a...
Oh, wow. CNN's ratings in free fall. Network has lost nearly 2/3 of its primetime viewers since 2016. Oh, man. Wow. 2016, they were sitting at roughly 1.3 million views, now down to 553,000 in the span of 10 years. Not even. Voluntary departures hitting record high. Self-deporting. They're self-deporting. Good news. Good news. Okay. SAVE Act passed the House today? Yeah, yesterday.
Be voting in American elections? The answer is no. And the Democrats have taken a hard position that it's okay. Now, the law already prevents that, but if that's true, then why wouldn't we want to put into law something that would require when you go to vote that you prove you're a United States citizen? And that's all the SAVE Act does. And so, you know, they can cry and lament this actually being voted on, but I'd be hard-pressed to have to defend a position that doesn't believe that you have to be an American citizen to vote in an American election.
I'll finish off with the words of Speaker Mike Johnson defending the SAVE Act. This is from yesterday, Leader Thune. Listen.
The SAVE Act just simply says you have to have verification of citizenship to register to vote. That's about a 90-10 issue on many of the polls in this country. And we're going to enhance it by what the president calls the Save America Act. And so it would be proof of citizenship to register to vote and voter ID, which is also about an 80 or 90% issue on the polling nationwide.
Yep. Nothing going on Capitol Hill these days. Leader Thune, I'll give you a final thought on all of it.
Well, I honestly, you know, this right now, their political base is demanding they fight with anything that President Trump wants. It is Trump derangement syndrome. It is on steroids around here these days, and even logical, commonsensical things like ensuring that if you're going to vote in an American election, you ought to be an American citizen. They're going to just instinctively oppose. So that's what we're up against, but we're going to do our best in spite of that.
Commonsensical.
To make sure
Commonsensical.
that our government is funded and that we're putting policies in place that keep the American people safer and more prosperous.
To be clear, Leader, it does sound like you're saying that what you're describing as Trump derangement syndrome is at the highest you've seen it. So my last question to you is just, do you truly believe that the party, Democrats, would stand for a complete shutdown of DHS?
Yeah.
I think it's
Absolutely they would. Are you kidding me? How is that even a question? U.S. judge rejects BBC's stay application in Trump defamation case. $10 billion lawsuit against the BBC. Set for trial next year, February next year. Trump just made more judicial nominees to the federal judiciary. Good. Need them. Okay, on Jeffrey Epstein's 62nd birthday, back in 2015, Kathy Rumler, former Obama White House counsel, emailed to wish him well, writing, "I hope you enjoy the day with your one true love." Small children? Just generally? I don't know what else that could be referring to. Your one true love. Maybe Ghislaine Maxwell? Yeah. Everyone knows he loved small children more than he loved Ghislaine. Even Ghislaine knew that. Come on. Lost our spot here. All right. There we are. Terrifying language in the Epstein files I viewed yesterday. Oh boy. We got Boebert. We got a Boebert here.
This seems that it wasn't only the trafficking of young girls, as the narrative suggests, but there are code words that suggest Jeffrey Epstein and his associates could maybe even be engaging in some sort of consumption. Is that human consumption? Are there code words?
Jerky.
There's a lot of talk of beef jerky. There's a restaurant called The Cannibal where the owner is listed in some of these documents. Now, that isn't a restaurant that is just proclaiming to serve human meat by any means. But some of this just, it seems that there's a lot of conspiracies that make you wonder. And I saw more emails about torture, and these coded conversations still have a very clear topic that torture was big. It was a big driver for them. And these were sick people doing very, very sick things. As you mentioned, there are many women who are involved in this. You have folks that were working directly for Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Right. And a lot of these women are the ones that are sending emails saying, here's one 10 years old, 11 years old, 9 years old. And
oh, yeah, they were the perps, man.
And it's just very,
all these people passed off as victims to us.
very disturbing to see the women who were
I mean, I don't want to say all of them, but clearly some of them were
involved in this as well.
Two Mexican Navy ships with humanitarian aid docked in Cuba. What kind of bullshit did they bring? Tacos? Are they running out of tacos in Cuba? Did they need to bring the taco brigade? They don't say. They don't say if there's a taco shortage. First thing that came to my mind, I mean, important things. And some stuff you just gotta know. Is there gonna be a taco shortage in Cuba or not? Trump nominates pro-tariff judicial nominee to the Court of International Trade. Yes, I was making a joke about tacos in Cuba. Yes. Very good. You got it, Manu Chao. Bravo. I invited, not happily, almost all Democrat governors to the governor's dinner at the White House. Never see whoever shows up at the White House, the fewer the better. Well, I don't know. Who is this talking about? Rhino Governor Kevin Stitt. Excuse me, of Oklahoma, who was massively behind his opponent in his previous election for governor, who called me to ask for help, endorsed him barely, and he won his race. No, tacos are not big in Cuba, you fucktard. Holy shit. How dense are you? Jesus. He then went on to modestly represent among the greatest people on earth, the incredible patriots of the Sooner State, who gave me unprecedented voting acclamation in all 3 elections, winning every county within the state 3 times and getting more votes than anyone who has ever run for office, including the late, great Ronald Reagan. U.S. Attorney in New York, appointed by judges, quickly fired by the White House. When's this? Oh, Kinsella? Okay. Donald Kinsella, age 79. Appointed in a private ceremony, Times reported. Then Kinsella said he received an email from the White House hours later telling him he was being yanked from the post. Interesting. What happened here? Oh, that's where I saw his name. Yeah, Blanche posting about this the other day. Okay. So Blanche is responding to a Brendan Lyons. Lyons says, in an extraordinary end run on the Trump admin, New York's Northern District judges appoint former federal prosecutor Donald Kinsella as new interim U.S. attorney in Albany. Blanche responds, judges don't pick U.S. attorneys, the president does? See Article 2 of the Constitution, you're fired, Donald Kinsella. All right. He's replacing John Sarcone, whom a judge found last month to be serving in the position unlawfully. Whoa. Russian memo proposes return to the U.S. dollar system in a pitch to President Trump. Boy. And after all that talk about, BRICS and shit. Oh well. So much for that multipolar world order. They're just gonna hop back on our pole, I guess. What? Betting company Polymarket opens New York City's first free grocery store in downtown Manhattan.
Take a look at this. A man is in custody after
That
repeatedly
is
ramming his car
unrelated.
into the main
Shut up, Fox News guy. Let's keep going. Check out the article. Okay, so Polymarket has donated $1 million to Food Bank for New York City and will operate the downtown Manhattan store through February 16th. What is this, like a joke, or what are they doing here? What is this? Okay. Prediction Market, best known for allowing users to bet on world events of literally any kind, stepping onto New York City's food scene, if only briefly, with the launch of what it is calling the city's first ever free grocery store. This has got to be like some kind of weird social experiment kind of thing. It sounds like something they might do. All right, so it's going to be open for New Yorkers in Lower Manhattan starting at noon on February 2nd through February 16th, so 4 days. According to the New York City for Free website, it's being described as the city's first free grocery store, fully stocked and requiring no purchase. Okay. I hope they're setting up lots of cameras. The announcement comes just days after rival Kalshi made a similar move. Oh, so they're doing it too? Oh, okay. Well, they gave hundreds of shoppers in the West Side Market $50 each towards their groceries. Well, I'd say Polymarket has solidly outdone them. Could be a big unconventional marketing tactic for them, depending on how they play this. Could be massive free advertising if they play their cards right here. Or more or less free, anyway. Low spend, we'll go. AG Pam Bondi under intense fire from, this is Trump, from the Trump deranged radical left lunatics was fantastic at yesterday's hearing on the never-ending saga of Jeffrey Epstein, where the one thing that has been proven conclusively, much to their chagrin, was that President Donald J. Trump has been exonerated 100% of their ridiculous Russia type charges. Actually, it's the slimeball Democrats, many of them big donors and politicians, that have been proven guilty. Republican loser, sanctimonious rhino Tom Massey made a total fool of himself yesterday, fighting aimlessly against a hopeless agenda of hate and stupidity, as most clearly stated by his crashing job approval numbers in the great Commonwealth state of Kentucky. Or Commonwealth of Kentucky, pardon. Okay. Relations between Venezuela and the U.S. have been, to put it mildly, extraordinary. Dealing very well with Delcy Rodriguez. Macro Rubio and all of our representatives are doing a fantastic job. We speak only for ourselves. Don't want there to be any state of confusion or misrepresentation. There's a story about a man named Harry Sargent III in the Wall Street Journal. He has no authority in any way, shape, or form to act on behalf of the United States of America, nor does anyone else that is not approved by the State Department. I don't know what story this is talking about, but some kind of New York slime garbage. Tim Waltz.
I want to note that the announcement today by Mr. Holman, we are cautiously optimistic, as we've said, and that this surge of untrained, aggressive federal agents are going to leave Minnesota. And I guess they'll go wherever they're going to go. But the fact of the matter is, they left us with deep damage, generational trauma. They left
We're doing the generational trauma thing. Oh God.
us with economic ruin in some cases.
Somalians, however, clearly have beautified the state and left it better than they found it.
They left us with many unanswered questions. Where are our children? Where and what is the process of the investigations into those that were responsible for the deaths of Renee and Alex?
What about the ones that took the Somali money? What about that, Tim?
So while the federal government may move on to whatever next thing they want to do, the state of Minnesota and our administration is unwaveringly focused
on
the
sucking dicks.
recovery of what they
What?
did.
Oh, that. Oh, sorry. Where on earth? Where did our shit go? Our shit disappeared. Nice. Yet again. Here we go. Wee woo. Pee 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 poo. Poo 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 pee pee poo. Okay. There we are. There he is.
Want to know earlier this week, one of the first things we can do and what we're focusing on today is what can we start doing on the economic recovery, the damage that has been done to our economy, specifically to small business owners, and even more specifically to immigrant small business owners.
Oh, yeah.
Which, for every other administration and for most of our history, is the epitome of the American dream. Come to this country with nothing.
And take everything from everyone that's here?
And build.
I mean, I guess when you think about it.
Something to be proud of. Build something that creates jobs. Build something that creates this incredible diversity and a food scene across this state that is second to none, to entrepreneurship, to the work that they've done. Meeting a few weeks ago down at the Hmong Market, and a gentleman who came here and got a food stall, and 3 of his children are now medical doctors that went through American universities to become medical doctors to
How much did they pay for the diplomas?
help make this state the best for health.
And through which mail order service was it?
Care. Those are stories we should be celebrating, not dangerous police chases through peaceful neighborhoods, not little boys in little backpacks being hauled away, and not mourning of parents and families.
Little boys in little backpacks being hauled away like criminals.
For American and Minnesota citizens being killed on the streets. So, Minnesota, on behalf of not just this state but the country, thank you. That same energy now needs to be directed towards recovery, to finding ways that people have done during these challenging months to go forward. So I want to say,
pee pee poo poo, poo
this
poo pee
damage
pee.
is still being assessed, but we do know, and you're going to hear from some folks. You're going to hear from Henry. You'll hear from Commissioner Verlick about where we're at on the front end of this, and we're going to be proposing a reinstitution of our Small Business Emergency Fund. It's what we used very successfully during COVID in the recovery and the economic recovery that we saw in Minnesota that outpaced most of the rest of the country.
Economic recovery.
We're going to be proposing a first-time $10 million one-time targeted loans, forgivable loans, that
This sounds like it's ripe for fraud.
We know,
It kind of sounds like it's.
I want to be very clear, is a very small piece of this, but what I am going to challenge as we get ready to start here in a few days, the legislative session, this legislative session needs to be about recovery of the damage that's been done to us. I am also
The damage to your fraud organization?
asking our team, and I'm going to make appeals to our federal delegation. The federal government needs to pay for what they broke here. There are going to be accountability on the things that happen, but one of the things is the incredible and immense costs that were borne by the people of this state. The federal government needs to be responsible. You don't get to break things and then just leave without doing something about it. So we're going to be asking the federal delegation
Unless, of course, you're Somalian.
to be
In which case, go ahead.
investing and doing the things necessary. We have been in
Or Haitian.
contact
Or Nigerian.
with federal leadership. As a negotiation is happening right now on DHS funding and all of the things that we have an expectation, whether it be the investigations, whether it be going forward, no masks, because this, I got to tell you, one of the things, and I'm in contact with a lot of my colleagues, both at the federal level with the Senate and the House, but especially governors, I don't want these folks showing up somewhere else and doing this. So the changes that
Well, I think you're probably going to have a bad year, Tim. This is the feeling. Jayapal outraged after Bondi seen with burn book of her Epstein file search history. Has the DOJ commented on this? Does anyone know? Has DOJ or Bondi offered comment on the sheet of paper with her search with the Jayapal search history on it? What have they said? It's totally inappropriate and against the powers, the separation of powers. Wee wee woo, pee pee poo poo. All of a sudden, they care about those. Yeah. There it is. There's this stupid bitch. Totally inappropriate and against the separation of powers for the DOJ to surveil us as we search the Epstein files. Bondi showed up today with a burn book that held a printed search history of exactly what emails I searched. That is outrageous, and I intend to pursue this and stop this spying on members. Wonder what they're so worried about here. Hillary Clinton arrives by train from Berlin for the Munich Security Conference. Oh God, she's waddling around Germany. On public transportation. Ew. U.S. delegation will be Marco Rubio, Macro Rubio. Significant number of U.S. senators, Gavin Newsom, AOC, Gretchen Whitmer, and more. Peru lawyer deposed Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro in federal jail in New York City declines to testify and will take the fifth, if called, at upcoming trial of former Rep. David Rivera on foreign agent charges. What? Huh? What? I missed all this with Rivera. I mean, I kind of remember the charge thing, but I didn't know Maduro was mixed up in this too, huh? Interesting. Lincoln's birthday, is that today? February 12th. Yep. Happy birthday, Link. DNI report discredits Biden intelligence community assessments of Havana syndrome. U.S. antitrust chief resigns amid turmoil. Yeah. What's her name? Gail Slater. Resigned Thursday amid internal turmoil at her department, and reports that cases were being undermined by White House-connected lobbyists. Slater, who was nominated by Trump in 2025, announced her departure on X, saying it was with great sadness and abiding hope that she was leaving. Any further quotes from her at all? No. This is a damn shame. Gail is one of the most honest and competent people in this administration and someone who believes in real antitrust enforcement, said Gigi Sohn of the Georgetown Law Institute for Technology, Law, and Policy. Georgetown, huh? Color me skeptical. I know nothing about the woman. So, or all this controversy, turmoil surrounding her departure. Not sure. But there have been some rather big antitrust cases kind of bubbling up, so could be connected to all that somehow. Okay. HR 2189. The Law Enforcement Innovate to De-Escalate Act has passed in a strong 233 to 185 vote. Bill reclassifies advanced less than lethal devices like modern tasers so they're no longer treated like firearms under outdated regs. They were treated like firearms to begin with? I had no... That's cuckoo, if that's true. Which it apparently is. How silly. DHS shut down all but certain. Of course. Of course it was going to happen. I mean, only a matter of time. What likely will happen, Senate Democrats expected to block House bill to fund DHS through September. Then there will be continuing resolutions to extend funding for a couple weeks. Both will be blocked. And then senators will leave town. Talks continue. Oh, we got a clip here, or... No, next one. Here.
President, Homeland Security appropriations expire tomorrow. And there are concerning signs that Democrats are prepared to walk away from the table and allow funding for critical Homeland Security agencies to expire. Funding for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the TSA, the Coast Guard, cybersecurity, and more. Mr. President, I want to take just a moment to review how we got here. Because it was a mere 3 weeks ago, we had a bipartisan agreement on the Department of Homeland Security appropriations bill. Bipartisan, Mr. President. Both House and Senate Democrats had signed off. That bipartisan agreement included additional funding for body cameras, for immigration and customs enforcement agents. It included funding for de-escalation training for ICE, and it included additional oversight of immigration and customs enforcement and Border Patrol spending. We were all set to pass this bill, and then Democrats reneged on the agreement. And so, here we are. Circumstances changed, I understand that, but some Democrats were already signaling they were prepared to walk away from the deal before the most recent events in Minneapolis even transpired. So Democrats wanted to reopen negotiations. Despite our bipartisan agreement, Republicans agreed to their request for additional time to consider this bill before final passage. Democrats wanted 2 weeks. Republicans warned, I warned at the time, that more time would be needed, that it would be almost impossible to come to an agreement and pass a renegotiated bill in that time frame. But Democrats insisted, and to prevent them from shutting down a large portion of the federal government, Republicans agreed to their request. Unfortunately, once they got their 2-week agreement, Democrats showed little urgency when it came to negotiations. It took them more than a week to come up with a list of demands. They didn't provide legislative text until this past weekend. But now, they have the gall to suggest that it's Republicans who are slow-walking things. Mr. President, the White House responded to Democrats' list of demands within 2 days and sent proposed legislative text over yesterday. And it is an extremely serious offer. On top of that, the White House has continued to show it's committed to taking actions on its own, with Tom Homan this morning announcing the withdrawal of almost all agents from Minnesota. It's clear, Mr. President, that the White House is serious, but it's increasingly looking like Democrats are not. Now, I'm not sure if Democrats thought the White House would just accede to every one of their demands or what, but they cannot reasonably expect to reach an agreement without actual negotiation with give and take from both sides. We warned Democrats they were not allowing enough time for this process, but they insisted on their 2-week time frame CR anyway. And now that we have been proven right, the onus is on Democrats to agree to an additional CR to allow time to complete the negotiations. Unless, of course, Democrats are more interested in a political issue than they are in an actual outcome. Because it's starting to look like Democrats might not have been interested in actual reforms. As I mentioned, they left an agreement on the table that would have provided for body cameras, de-escalation training, and increased spending oversight. And now, instead of allowing adequate time to negotiate on additional measures, they are threatening to shut down the Department of Homeland Security, which will get them exactly 0 changes to the status quo. So what is it? What is it, Mr. President, that the Democrats want? Policy changes? Or is it a political issue? Mr. President, Democrats are never going to get their full wish list. That's not the way this works. Republicans, for example, will not agree to measures that make it impossible for officers, for law enforcement officers, to do their jobs. But Democrats can build on the measures that Republicans have already agreed to if they actually engage in serious negotiations with the White House. So, Mr. President, the ball is in Democrats' court. Are they going to shut down the Department of Homeland Security, which would be their second shutdown this fiscal year? Or are they going to allow for the time to negotiate with the White House and get agreement on a final bill? That's the question before the House, Mr. President. We had a bill, negotiated carefully, that Democrats had signed off on, which, as I said, they reneged on, wanted to revisit it, more time to negotiate, which we agreed to. We suggested at the time that probably 4 to 6 weeks would be an adequate amount of time in which to negotiate the changes, or some of the changes, the reforms, other things on top of the ones that have already been the bill that they want. And they said 2 weeks. They used over a week of that, about 10 days, to actually come up with their list of demands, to which the White House responded quickly. And again, right now, they are sitting in front of them a counterproposal from the White House, a reasonable good faith offer, as I said. So the question again before the House, Mr. President, is are they serious or aren't they? Is this about politics or is it about solutions? I'd like to believe that we're actually here to try and solve this problem and to fund the government, not just the Department of Homeland Security, but all the agencies of government that are covered in that bill, to include the Federal Emergency Management Agency, TSA, Coast Guard, cybersecurity. Those are all parts of this. It's pretty important stuff, Mr. President, I would argue. The Democrats are going to have an opportunity later today to vote not only on the bill as passed by the House, which they negotiated and then walked away from, which funds all these things I just mentioned. We will have that vote, and they will also have an opportunity to allow for an extension for additional time which we all knew was going to be necessary to actually reach a final deal. So it really is in their court. And it's not something that, they can point fingers at the Republicans or the White House. These are all things. We have accommodated them literally in every way in an attempt to try and reach an agreement that would, having been in good faith offered by the White House to work with them to reach a deal that would satisfy some, if not all, but certainly address some of their concerns and demands, and do it in a way that keeps the government funded and keeps these important agencies operating. That's the question, and it's really up to them. So we'll find out, I guess, later today the answer to that question, Mr. President. But I would simply say that we will be voting to keep the federal government funded, to keep it open, to keep these important agencies so critical to the functioning of our federal government and the employees who work there, who shouldn't be held hostage in a government shutdown. We will be voting today to keep all of those open with reforms to immigration and customs enforcement, the very thing the Democrats have said they wanted, then walked away from, and now are insisting that all the concessions that have been made by the White House to date aren't adequate, and yet they aren't willing to extend the time to continue the negotiations. It's really kind of an ironic position to be in, but they seem to have embraced it. So we'll have the votes.
Excuse me. As DHS talks continue, Hakeem Jeffries says he's here today, here tomorrow. And he'll be here this weekend if necessary. Yeah, right. Okay. The guy's never fully actually there. I mean, you see him talk. This is pretty funny. For reference, this is how we vote in the U.S. House. With a photo ID. Step 1, insert photo ID. Government issued. Step 2, press button. Racist, clearly racist. Disenfranchisement. Blah, blah. Etc., etc. EU Parliament votes to accept a report that calls for the full recognition of trans women as women.
Resolution as a whole. Roll call vote. The vote is open. And the vote is closed.
Oh boy.
And that's adopted. Resolution as a whole.
Suck ass. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Free on his way to New York City today, where he'll meet with Mamdani. What is he doing meeting with Mamdani? They're expected to discuss how blue cities can stand up to Trump. Uh-huh. Oh boy. Caitlin Collins, CNN, says Carolyn Levitt defended her free press rights.
When we were in Saudi Arabia and we were on a foreign trip with the president, and he came in with all the other leaders, including the Saudi crown prince. They famously do not like the media there,
Right.
To put it lightly. And I asked a shouted question to President Trump, who had seen me when the U.S. press came in. He didn't answer, which is, I mean, that's how it works. You shout questions, they either answer or they don't. It's their prerogative. And then the world leaders left the room. The Saudi royal guard kind of freaked out because I dared to ask a question, and they're not used to that there because they don't have a free press. And so they came up and they said, okay, well, you can't come into the next event, which was like 2 minutes later. And I was like, that's not how this works. I go into the US press, and they were like, well, you're not coming in. And I could see them like whispering and pointing about me. And some of the younger White House staff that were with the press weren't really sure what to do. And they went to Caroline. And to her credit, she said, no, Caitlin's coming in with the rest of the U.S. press. And we went in. And so it didn't become this huge issue because obviously if I had not been allowed in, you know, this is something that has happened with the North Koreans when the president visited the DMZ and Sarah Huckabee Sanders was the press secretary. And so to her credit, she without a doubt was like, no, you're coming in.
Right.
Which I do think is important in that moment, especially when you're kind of the U.S. contingent abroad and we don't do things like they do in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
About that Epstein victims photo that's gone viral is yet another hoax. What? Let's see. Oh, this one with these ones standing up and beep beep poo poo beep beep poo poo. Yeah, look at them. All right, what do we got? Who do we have? Who's this one? Sky Roberts, not an alleged victim. Oh, brother of Virginia Giuffre, huh? Who, depending who you ask, was actually a perpetrator. Jess Michaels over here. Oh, that one, yeah. Claims she was sexually assaulted by Epstein in 1992 at age 22, but didn't realize she'd been victimized until 2019 when she gave a TED Talk and launched a consulting firm. Two, Teresa Helm up here, recognize her. Claims she was groomed and trafficked by Epstein and Maxwell in 2002 at age 22 and didn't realize she'd been victimized until 2019 after watching a YouTube video. Number 3, Liz Stein. Right there. Oh, I recognize her. Claims she encountered Epstein and Maxwell in 1994 at age 21, but did not realize she had been trafficked until 2019 after she spent the preceding several decades in long-term psychiatric facilities. Okay, that sounds like there's probably something going on. Yeah. Number 4, yep, I recognize her. Laura Bloom McGee refuses to give specifics, but claims she was an adult model when she was trafficked sometime in the early to mid-2000s. Number 5, Lisa Phillips there. Claims she was sexually abused in some non-specific way when she was a 21-year-old model and accepted an invitation to go on a day trip to Epstein's Island. Number 6, Amanda Roberts, sister-in-law of Virginia Roberts Giuffre. Oh, so these two have, like, picked up the grift. All right. I don't think that's what all these people are doing. But in their case, Giuffre sketched me out for a while, personally. And this one, too. From what I recall, Jess Michaels. And some of the others not pictured, too. Some of them, not so much. Like, I'm quite sure some of them have been absolutely victimized. Unfortunately, I think maybe even in some of those cases, the lines might blur a little bit. Seems like he liked to get them to recruit more victims, you know. Yeah, I think he would, if I remember right, he would even pay them. And he wouldn't even like offer them money to recruit. I don't remember if that was Virginia alone that claimed that, or if that was consistent with the others too. But I'm pretty sure that at least some of them had claimed that. Read comments. What do we got? What down here? Or just those comments? Kamala Harris's content hub. What was it called again? Headquarters is celebrating violent threats against ICE.
Bitch, if ICE come in here, we're gonna jump their asses. Bitch, I got some bear mace in the back.
Anyone else just hate this whole bitch thing that it has like become a thing lately with these ones? I mean, it's all just cringe and ew and bad coming from that direction generally, but it's especially bad. I don't know where it came from, but I hear it everywhere now. Bitch. Like multiple times in the space of 5 or 6 words. Bizarre. Kamala Harris's content hub. Yeah, we just did that. Kalshi. Oh, now we get to see the Kalshi version. All right.
The moment the doors opened today, it was like Christmas all over again, this event.
So wait, did Kalshi open their own market too to hit back at Polymarket's free market? Oh no, this is Polymarket's. Okay, so Kalshi held a promotion. See, I should just read it first. Kalshi held a promotion in New York City on February 3rd where they gave $50 of free groceries away per person for 3 hours. This was to counter Polymarket doing a pop-up free grocery store that'll run for 5 days. I thought it was the other way around, but whatever.
Promoted online with the tagline, F it, free groceries for everyone by Kalshi.
The time I got here was 7 a.m.
I'm like trying to figure out like what I'm gonna like meal prep for the week. And the line kind of almost extends.
Oh my God, the videos are already coming. Here we go. They are absolutely milking this. This is a brilliant move by them. This is, I mean, it's A, going to demonstrate the pure insanity of free grocery stores. And B, just marketing the shit out of themselves in the process.
Two around the corner.
I got here early.
I'm leaving today.
That's ad money well spent.
I want to be a part of it.
I think that this
Probably going to get copyright hit on this, but whatever. This is just, wow.
these eggs, some Hillshire, okay, pork chops, eggs, ground beef, pepper. It's amazing, isn't it?
Wow. And look at the clientele. Oh boy.
To stray.
Shout out to Kelsey, Westside Market.
They're probably already used to free groceries.
The very heart of it, New York, New York.
The moment the doors opened today, it was like...
At least here they don't risk arrest. Not that that's really a concern in New York for them anyway. Trump admin dramatically expanding their effort to revoke U.S. citizenship for foreign-born citizens. Third worlders like Ilhan Omar, who openly pledge their loyalty to Somalia in her case, could face denaturalization as soon as this year. Or cases regarding their denaturalization. Whether that ends up succeeding, we'll see. Let's hope so.
oo Congress-ka Mareykanka ku jirto. Laakiin waxaan ahay gabar Soomaaliyeed, gabar idinku jinsi ah, gabar idinku ah.
Federal judge has just blocked Secretary of War Pete Hegseth from disciplining or demoting seditious Democrat Senator Mark Kelly after Kelly urged open rebellion within the armed forces. Here we go again with the judges. God. Leftist calls on protesters to shoot ICE agents. Oh, this is, wow. Look at that.
If they're gonna shoot us anyway,
but they're not.
You might as well shoot first.
All right, well, let me know how that works out for you, buddy. Newly uncovered oh, this is the shooter, the Canadian shooter guy, right? Newly uncovered post from the mother of Jesse Van Rootselaar, the trans Canadian school shooter, reveal that she facilitated her son's transition rather than getting him actual mental health care, which he clearly was in desperate need of. What do you mean he looks crazy? He clearly just needs to have his dick chopped off and, you know, maybe a pair of tits and some hormones. Just like new. Yeah, that'll fix it. That'll solve the problem. So let's see. She facilitated her son's transition while telling other parents, to get their shit together so that she doesn't have to bring our kids up in a world full of hate. Well, now all those parents don't get to bring their kids up at all because your kid killed them. Man, oh man. Right? Can we make out any of the posts here? Good people don't spend their time harassing marginalized communities. They do, though, however, apparently spend their time ignoring glaring mental health problems in their own offspring. And instead of that, just chop their peepees off. Good people. You said down here, it's hard to read, but at the bottom. Facts. As a conservative-leaning libertarian. Oh, claims to be a conservative-leaning libertarian. Fucking libertarians, man. I'm sorry, but y'all got problems, dude. As a conservative-leaning libertarian who lives in the North and loves living in a small town, I really hope the hate I see online is just bored old people and not true hatred. Do better and educate yourself before spewing bullshit online. Makes you look dumb. Evolve. I normally don't say anything, and I normally don't go on Shitbook to see the keyboard warriors. And I know I can't control everything or shield my kids from everything. But please, for the love of fuck, can you get your shit together so we don't have to bring our kids up in a world full of hatred? Do you have any idea how many kids are killing themselves over this kind of hate? Please stop the bullshit. Oh, the irony. Sick, sad irony. My God. ICE arrest illegal with criminal record and found a gun in his pocket.
Yep.
Jose Miguel Corral Reyes in Georgia.
Bullet clear. Well, with ICE, you understand? You had a warrant for your arrest. You're illegal here in the United States, correct, sir? Up the top right there.
That, yep, that would be a gun. Is that a Smith? What is that thing?
You've answered last time. Are you taking any medication?
Not a bad little piece there. I don't know what that freaking thing is, but
You've answered.
had a prior conviction for DUI, assault, and shoplifting.
You've answered last time. Are you taking any medication?
Is that a... Yeah, I don't know what that freaking thing is, man. No clue. Haven't nerded out over guns for a while. Been spending my time elsewhere for a few years. I thought Glock at first glance, but that slide is definitely not Glock, like, unless it's a aftermarket slide, right? Yeah. I don't know what that is. Definitely not Glock, though. U.S. Senate has just rejected a bill to keep DHS funded, 5247, meaning it'll partially shut down by the end of this week unless something changes. Was it an MNP? Oh, so I guess I was right. It was a Smith. It was my first guess. I was trying to make out what it said on that slide there, but it's too fuzzy. Can't tell. Yeah, I assumed it was a Smith. M&P. Department of Homeland Security shutting down tomorrow night.
Sandra, good afternoon. There's going to be a shutdown for just the Department of Homeland Security at 12:0001 on Saturday morning. That test vote needed 60 yeas. There were 52 yeses on this. John Fetterman, the Democrat from Pennsylvania, was the only Democratic yes. And John Thune, the Republican leader in the Senate, he switched his vote to no. That gives him the ability to recall this if they were to get a deal. Just after that test vote went down, you had Katie Britt, the Republican senator from Alabama, come to the floor and try to get what they call unanimous consent, where they agree on the spot, all 100 senators, for a 2-week interim spending bill for DHS, and that was objected to by Chris Murphy, the Democrat from Connecticut. So this means that there's about 61,000 TSA employees who would not be paid during this shutdown, and also about 20,000 FEMA employees. And because Congress is expected to be out for the next 8-9 days, that means the government shutdown probably runs for at least a week or two. Now, Democrats, they just put out their legislative text a couple of days ago. You had the White House counteroffer last night. Chris Murphy said that wasn't enough time to turn it around. Katie Britt said, well, you guys should have gotten your proposal on ICE changes a couple of days early. The other factor in this, and Eric Schmidt, the Republican senator from Missouri, was very critical of some of his colleagues. There's the Munich Security Conference that many colleagues are going to fly over there right now. And he said they care more about going to Europe and criticizing American foreign policy than dealing with DHS.
Of course. Okay. Oh, this is the EPA announcement. Yeah, what was that all about? Zeldin said the other day it was like the biggest... What was it? Deregulation or something? I think. Yeah.
The single largest deregulatory action in American history. That's a big statement in American history. And I think we can add the words by far. Under the process just completed by the EPA, we are officially terminating the so-called endangerment finding, a disastrous Obama-era policy that severely damaged the American auto industry and massively drove up prices for American consumers. Prices went up incredibly for a worse product. This action will eliminate over $1.3 trillion of regulatory costs and help bring car prices tumbling down dramatically. You're going to get a better car. You're going to get a car that starts easier, a car that works better for a lot less money. In 2009, Barack Hussein Obama, his EPA designated fossil fuels such as oil, gas, and other things that actually make factories rock and roll.
All that greenhouse gas regulation bullshit.
Other things drive very nicely as a threat to health. The hated start-stop feature onto American
Oh, that freaking crap. Oh my goodness.
consumers, which unnecessarily shuts off a car's engine when you stop at a red light. In other words, the engine goes off. That's great. The endangerment finding was also used to impose the massive and
I mean, they've gotten it tech to a point where it's not like terribly obtrusive. You know, when you hit the pedal, it starts up pretty quickly and you're off. It there's no major like latency or lag. But there is some. There's definitely some. And like, how much is it really actually saving you? Like, really? For what?
really very expensive electric vehicle mandate, expensive in the sense that nobody wanted it. Everybody was going to be forced to buy an electric car in a very short period of time, even though you can't power the car because we would have had to spend $5 trillion.
Yeah, I much prefer having instant response when I want it and when I need it, not just having my engine randomly shut off to save like a thimble full of gas. It's stupid.
On power stations. That's all dead, gone, over. These crippling restrictions were a major factor in driving up car prices to unprecedented levels, and the car that you were getting was not nearly as good. In 4 years under the Biden administration, forced the hated start-stop feature our fields and ruining the and we're putting them all over our fields and ruining the fields and killing the birds and all of this. And
windmills.
The environmentalists say they like them, but they really are a tremendous eyesore. They ruined. Europe has gone, as you know, it's gone to it. Europe isn't even recognizable anymore between immigration and because of, you know, environmental things like the windmills, which are taking over. The people hate them. The energy is by far the most expensive. And we're fighting very hard to make sure that they don't get built. I hope we don't have one built during my administration.
OMB Director Russ Vought. The Reaper, right? That's what they called him in the silly meme video from months back. Director Russ Vought just confirmed massive 1.3 trillion in savings for the American people. That's nothing to sneeze at, man.
Literally no other president would have done this to get at the foundations of the Green New Deal. So tremendously excited that we are where we are today. Great work by Lee. I'm a little worried that this next year will be, EPA alone will be dereg east by the number of things that are going to come out of EPA. So great work to the team. $1.3 trillion in savings, massive historical opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Literally no other president would have done this.
Why does Netanyahu want you to stop negotiating with Iran?
Negotiating with Iran.
He is, you're saying stop entertaining, stop talking to them? Didn't say that, we didn't discuss that. I'll talk to them as long as I like, and we'll see if we can get a deal with them. And if we can't, we'll have to go to phase two. Phase two will be very tough for them. I'm not looking for that.
Mr. President.
Interesting. Kind of brushed it off.
Stop talking to them? Didn't. He is, you're saying stop entertaining, stop talking to them? Didn't say that, we didn't discuss.
Trump said it's time for the Senate to surge the SAVE Act through the floor and to his desk.
America Act, and the Democrats are against it. I heard one of them saying, "We will stop the Save America Act." No, we're trying to save America. And it has to do with largely voting. And basically, it's got three very simple points. It's got voter ID, photo ID, but voter ID with a photo, right? It's got the confirmation of U.S. citizenship. You have to be a citizen. So you have a vote, you have an ID. That's about a 99% one. And I think 90% with Democrats. Then you have confirmation U.S. citizenship. That's about a 99% one with Republicans, about 86% with Democrats, except Democrat politicians because they cheat on elections. And then you have no mail-in ballots. And there would be no mail-in ballots, very important. You know, we're the only country in the world that does a system like we do. We're the only country in the world that has mail-in ballots. The way we do this is unbelievable. It guarantees cheating. So it's no mail-in ballots with the exception of disability, illness, military, or if you're traveling, you can get an exemption. You know, if you happen to be out of the country for a good reason, you can have an exemption. So with exceptions, it's no mail-in ballots, and that will assure the security of our crooked elections. We have crooked elections, yeah.
In person, same day, baby. Trump said he's not firing the staffer who posted the video that contained the Obamas as apes in a Lion King skit. Good. Ridiculous.
You posted the video from your account that included the Obamas?
No, I haven't. That was a video on, as you know, voter fraud, and fairly long video.
Yeah, the little thing was like tacked on at the end because it was like the next video in the feed.
They had a little piece and had to do with the Lion King. It's been very well. It's been shown
It's just absurd.
all over the place long before that was posted. But that was a very strong, and I'm sure you saw it, a very strong piece on voter fraud. And the piece that you're talking about was all over the place many times, I believe for years. Yep.
Yep.
Where the Secretary of Commerce visited
Mr. President, were you aware that Commerce Secretary Lutnick visited Epstein Island?
Epstein's Island, and do you continue to have?
No, I wasn't aware of it. No, I didn't. I actually haven't spoken to him about it. I wasn't. But from what I hear, he was there with his wife and children. And I guess in some cases,
Interesting.
some people were. I wasn't. I was never there. Somebody will someday say that. I was never there. Yeah, please.
President, were you aware that Secretary of Commerce?
Back to Netanyahu. You have a president that refuses to give him a pardon.
It should be ashamed of himself. A pardon over this trial that's going on. The president of Israel, the primary power he's got is the power to give pardons. And he's not, you know, he said he's given it 5 different times, but he doesn't want to do it because I guess he loses his power. I think the people of Israel should really shame him. He's disgraceful for not giving it. He should give it. But Bibi's been a great wartime prime minister, and I've been the best friend to Israel I think that they've ever had. A lot of people say beyond presidents that they've ever had, and we will continue to be. Yes, ma'am.
On the SAVE Act, Mr. President, voter.
And, you know, you have a president that
Oh, Keith Ellison, that's right.
Encourage trained activists to put themselves into harm's way because you had to know, because you were watching this, that there were scuffles at least, that these people were obstructing justice. I would think you'd actually, as the chief law enforcement officer of Minnesota, be concerned about people obstructing justice. So, you know, putting their cars in streets, blocking roads. I would think as chief law enforcement, you would be concerned about that, but were you ever concerned about encouraging, I guess, people to support you to go out and put themselves into harm's way?
No,
by
we never.
impeding and obstructing illegal law enforcement action. Did that ever concern you?
Sir, that never happened. We all times said, if you want to protest, protest peacefully, protest safely. But I would. You'll never find me being
That's good-
against the First
that's a good
Amendment.
out right now, but
I'll always be for the First Amendment.
You were seeing the scuffles, right? You were seeing the, and by the way, Minneapolis police officials could not help protect ICE officials, right? I mean, Representative Niska, isn't that, when you're talking about the nullification of federal law, isn't that one of the, Hennepin County that they simply could not help and protect ICE in their legal law enforcement actions?
The Minneapolis Police Department issued guidance in July saying that they would not even help with crowd control around.
Yeah, no volume on that one was way low. It was way low for me too. I had to crank my speakers up just to hear it. Let me put a compressor on though, at least for YouTube. Unfortunately, can't do that for Zoom, but at least here. And bring up the volume of these quiet videos.
Encourage trained activists
Okay, that should help for YouTube.
encourage trained activists to put themselves into harm's way because you had to know, because you were watching this, that there were scuffles at least, that these people were obstructing justice. I would think you'd actually, as the chief law enforcement officer of Minnesota, be concerned about people obstructing justice. Like, putting their cars in streets, blocking roads. I would think as chief law enforcement, you would be concerned about that, but were you ever concerned about encouraging?
Okay. Yeah, that did look better in terms of volume, matching my volume. Should be a little closer. And the question is, when I do a loud one, how is it going to sound for YouTube here? Let's see.
Because you encourage them to put themselves.
Well, I don't know if that's louder or not.
First, the hated start-stop feature onto American consumers, which unnecessarily shuts off a car's engine when you stop at a red light. In other words, the engine goes off. That's great. The endangerment finding was also...
Okay. That's better.
used to impose the massive and...
Sorry, I'm adjusting all these settings to try to even out the volume. Okay. Okay, there we go. Hopefully that'll help even things out for YouTube at least. All right, let's keep going. What did I miss here real quick? Obama. Today, the Trump administration repealed the endangerment finding. The ruling that served as the basis for limits on tailpipe emissions and power plant rules. Without it, we'll be less safe, less healthy, and less able to fight climate change. Also, the fossil fuel industry can make even more money. Okay, Bob. Hegseth just announced the Pentagon will be appealing an activist judge's order. Good. Blocking disciplinary action against Mark Kelly. All right, let's see this one.
Exact opposite. And 2 people are dead because you encourage them to put themselves into harm's way. And now you're exploiting those 2 martyrs. That was a tragedy. It never should have happened. Now, we can investigate, but I can't imagine being a law enforcement official where I know my colleagues have been shot at, their vehicles rammed, that there are trained activists deployed. And by the way, we know at least one of those activists had a semi-automatic pistol with extra clips. So now you're an ICE officer, you're doing enforcement action, you've got a team behind you trying to protect you, you've got all these trained activists behind you. Is it any wonder they're at hair trigger alert? A tragedy was going to happen, and you encouraged it. And you ought to feel damn guilty about it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
In historic fraud out of your state, including the $250 million in the Feeding Our Future program alone. You familiar with that? Don't turn to the pages in your book to get your potted answers.
Look at the smirk on his face. Duper's delight.
Are you familiar with it? Yes or no?
Yes, I am familiar with it.
Very familiar, aren't you? Because the people who ran the Feeding Our Futures program came to you in your official office in the state capitol December 11th, 2021, and asked for your help in getting investigators off their backs. They complained to you for upwards of an hour about state investigators going after them, and they begged you to help them, and you agreed to it, amazingly. And we know you did.
That's not
because
true.
it's all caught on tape.
Yeah, it is
Every
caught on-
single sentence is caught on tape. Here's what you said. Let's
And
take a look.
obviously you didn't listen
said,
to the
it's not a
tape.
question. You said to them, send me the names of all these folks who are investigating them. You said to them, send me their names. And I'll take that list and I'll call the person over at Education who's investigating them and say, what's going on? Why am I getting these complaints? Then you went on to say, I already have my team working on this. What day should we get together to discuss it again? You made pledge after pledge to them. You said, we've got to make sure this guy who's investigating them stops it. You said, you have my attention. I'm concerned about this. You said, let's go fight these people, meaning the people who are investigating the fraud. Why
Yeah, just keep nodding your head, Keith.
did you do it? Why'd
Shitbag.
you help them?
Are you going to let me answer?
Please, we're all ears.
So first of all, you're cherry picking quotes out of there.
Why did you help
I
them?
thought you were going to let me answer.
Why did you
Are you
help
going to let
them?
me answer?
Why did you help
You
them?
let me answer and I'll answer you.
Tell the
Go ahead, Keith.
truth and I'll let
The world's waiting.
you answer.
I will tell the truth.
Good.
Let's do that.
That'd be a nice change. Why'd you help them?
No, that now see,
Quit stalling for time, you shithead.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't come here to be insulted. I came here
You
voluntarily.
came here for the truth. Let's
I came
have it.
here- I
Why
didn't
did
come
you
here
help
vol- I
them? The
came here
quotes are
voluntarily.
here. They're
Well,
in
look,
black and white, and every
yeah,
member of this audience
and they're
can
cherry-
listen to the
and
Continuing to stall.
recording. It's 54
Stop letting him do it, Hawley.
minutes long. It's all in public.
Come on, stop talking, Hawley. Get him back. Get him back on
You
track.
can Google it right now and listen to it.
and listen
Shut your mouth, Hawley.
to it
Why'd
all.
you help them?
Thank you.
First of all, I didn't help them.
You did help
No,
them.
I did not. I certainly didn't.
You're saying you didn't do anything for them. You didn't.
Well, wait a minute.
I already have my team working on this again. That's not you?
I have
It's a ventriloquist?
my team assisted with the information that led to the prosecution and conviction
Oh, listen to this bullshit.
of these
No,
people.
you didn't. You didn't lift
Yes,
a finger
we
to
did.
prosecute.
See, what had happened was, so actually, what did happen was,
No, you did not. You
No,
didn't
because
lift a finger
it
to
was a
prosecute him.
federal
You had,
prosecution.
BS. You had
Okay,
whistleblowers
but
come to you as early as 2019.
You're the one talking BS.
Hey, listen, it's my
You're the
time.
one who doesn't know what you're talking about,
Oh,
sir.
no, sir. You
You're the
now have
one
encountered the truth and you
cherry-picking
don't like it.
quotes.
Why'd you take
You're
their
the
money?
one taking their
Why'd you
money.
take their money?
I didn't.
You took
oh, really?
That's a false statement. No,
$10,000.
that's a false statement. That is a false
$10,000
statement.
9 days after the meeting.
False statement.
You took $10,000. Here's what
Untrue.
happened. They went to
He's going for the Dindu defense.
your office.
That's a
they
false
solicited
statement.
money from
They
you.
did
They
not come to
solicited
my
help
office.
from you.
That's also wrong.
They came to your office.
No,
it
they
was your
didn't.
official
How on brand.
office. You
No, they
met with them
didn't.
for 54 minutes.
No, they didn't.
asked you for help. You pledged it to them, and they talked repeatedly about money. In fact, it's all they talked
That's
about.
a lie.
Money, 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 money. They
True.
said, we
Untrue.
will put our dollars in the right place. We will support candidates that will fight to protect our interests. You replied, that's right. They said, if you are
that is
securing
not
your
true.
donor base and securing your power base, you can act the way you want. You replied, money is freedom. They said the amount of money circulating, I'm reading the transcript, the amount of money circulating in our community today is powerful, and we haven't realizing it in a meaningful way. And you said, give me the specifics. And 9 days later, you took $10,000
That's a lie.
from people who were then indicted. It's in your reports. Why'd you do it?
Sir,
Was it worth it?
You know what? This is a theatrical performance.
10,000. This is the truth.
It
This is
has
what
nothing to
accountability
do-
looks like, of which you've had none.
No, the
you
fact-
helped fraudsters defraud your state and this government of $9 billion, and
Sir,
you got a
this is-
fat campaign contribution out of
This
it.
is
You ought to be indicted.
True. Well,
That's the truth.
I think we've made the point. Let's keep the 10.
Well, for the record,
I'll ask how I
he's
want to, Senator
lying,
Paul.
and that's and
I'll ask how I want, first of all.
The $9 billion.
You gain a few points back for that one, Holly. Yep. He's been on my shit list lately, so.
Visa, should you be deported to the country illegally, or you overstay a visa, should you be deported?
my simple answer is, sir, it depends.
Okay.
What?
So if somebody breaks into your home, should they be arrested for breaking and entering, or does it depend?
It's an entirely different scenario.
How's that?
Because immigration is essentially a civil, and the breaking into my home is a criminal matter.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So there's laws that should be enforced, so we shouldn't enforce civil violations?
We absolutely should enforce them.
But you just said that it's a civil matter, so it's different. So if somebody
you enforce
creates
civil matters.
So if somebody commits a civil infraction, it shouldn't be enforced?
It should be.
Okay, so they should be deported.
No, they should have due process that is associated with their petition. So,
again,
for example,
so the act of entering the country illegally, you think we should say, well, did you really do it or not do it? It's pretty
Oh, my
obvious that
goodness.
they did, right?
well, I mean, it would depend on the facts of the situation, and then they might say,
I just gave you the facts. They
Right, but-
entered the country without permission.
but Senator, what if they had a good faith basis to say they would be
Fuck off.
persecuted in their home country and subjected to real oppression there under
Then if that were the case, they wouldn't be here illegally. They'd be here legally, having applied for asylum and so on and so forth.
international law. There are provisions
Properly.
for them to
Not the bullshit asylum.
That's a phenomenal point. Mexico and Canada, do you consider those to be safe countries or no?
Generally, I do, but there are
Oh, no,
certain
generally you
circumstan-
do? Wow,
well,
Ridiculous, man. Todd Lyons reveals cartels are posting schematics to his house so he can be assassinated.
About the violence, the threat.
Ooh, that's a loud one. Speaker's down on that one.
The doxing against ICE officers, because again, that's where I've got a great deal of sympathy for people trying to enforce the law. They've been shot at. They've had their vehicles rammed, rocks thrown at their vehicles, doxed. On Central America, I found out that if you're becoming new police chief, you get a DVD from the friendly drug cartels with your children and wife going into school and going to church. It's an explicit threat, hands off, or we're going to do something. Well, there's such a demand for unmasking ICE officers, but they've been doxxed. So just talk about the violence, the threats, the doxing that your law enforcement officers are really under.
So, sir, it's day to day. I was the field office director for the state of New England. I covered all of New England. And if you looked at the beginning of the operations, January 20th up until April, ICE officers and agents weren't masked. But it's bad. And I'll just use myself as an example. The week that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, there was a tweet that went out. It said, kill Charlie Kirk, kill another, there was another individual in that, kill Todd Lyons. That's the stuff that I see. Yesterday after the testimony on Tuesday, I went back to numerous death threats against my family. There was a videotape of my wife walking to work that people actively post. The cartels have actually posted the schematics to my home. ICE agents feel that every day. We actually did an operation with the Secret Service where we identified doxers who put up on telephone poles the home addresses and the schools where ICE officers and agents went to. But yet no one covered that operation. We covered that as a success. And I don't want my officers masked. I would work with this committee and any committee to work with holding individuals accountable that dox ICE agents, because ICE agents don't want to be masked. They're honorable men and women, but the threats against their family are real.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Joni Ernst blasts A.G. Ellison.
The largest General Ellison, under your watch, unfortunately, Minnesota has
A loud one.
achieved the largest COVID fraud scheme in American history. Under your watch, those whistleblowers who brought attention to the fraud and waste.
Largest fraud operation, had Biden put it. I think that was exactly how he put it. He was talking about elections, but still.
In your state faced retaliation. Under your watch, billions of tax dollars intended for unemployment insurance, supporting hungry children, just as described, children with autism, providing housing for the most vulnerable, keeping small businesses afloat through COVID, and more were instead, all of those dollars were funneled away into fraudulent schemes. So last month in an interview with CNN, you were asked if your office has done enough to stop the fraud. And you responded, of course we've done enough. And this is a quote, of course we've done enough. And we're doing more every single day. This is a political matter. This is not a serious thing.
That's crazy.
Those are your words.
They are.
General.
What a thing to say. Todd Lyons reveals in deep red state of Florida, there are no shootings, no riots, no protests, and no ICE hunting groups. Imagine that.
When you were in Florida, did our sheriff's office and police officers, did they, if somebody was being released that was an illegal alien and had a criminal background, did they say, no, we're not going to talk to ICE? Was that your experience?
No, sir.
So have we had all these protests in Florida?
No, sir.
Have you had problems with ICE-involved shootings in Florida?
No, sir.
Why?
I think, sir, it's just the cooperation factor. That's a huge portion of it. And if I could, sir, when it comes to the detainer, ICE respects state law as well. Minnesota has it where they can't hold individuals based on the detainer. Massachusetts has the Lund decision where they can't hold individuals.
Why would they have that? How does that help anybody that lives in that community?
Sir, it doesn't help public safety, but what I would ask is that even with the detainer, if you don't want to hold that person and it violates your state law, at least give us the chance to make that phone call. And I can give you an example from my time in Massachusetts. There was always the fact that we kind of felt like Charlie Brown with the football. They would say they were going to cooperate, but they would call knowing that there was only 12 ICE officers available to respond from Boston, Massachusetts to Cape Cod. And they told us we had 15 minutes to get there. But at the end of the day, when that individual was released, they still said, we called ICE. And unfortunately, there was way too many cases where we had an individual on Cape Cod in Barnstable County that was arrested for rape, was released on the detainer, and then went and raped again. So those are the cases that ICE is really concerned about. And if you don't want to hold an individual in custody longer than state time, by all means, ICE respects that. But please pick up the phone, give us the opportunity to come there and make that arrest.
So when they don't do it, is the community safer?
No, sir, it's not. And that prime example is one right there that they could have made the public safer.
All right, anything last minute here before I hand off? More of these guys. All right, let's see.
Whistleblowers came to you as early as 2019. Let's look. As early as 2019, whistleblower. Don't talk over me. As early as 2019, it's my hearing, pal. As early as 2019.
Don't call me
whistleblowers came to. Well, I should call you prisoner because you ought to be in jail.
Well, we'll see what you can.
What is on his lip?
Then there was Republican Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, who also got into a heated exchange with Ellison, this time about...
Someone got a little overzealous with the powdered donuts. Didn't you, Josh?
It's sick. It is despicable.
Are you asking me for comment, Senator? Because everything you said was untrue. It was a nice theatrical performance, but it was all lies.
Dickbag. All right, let's skip that. Whoa, gold and silver taking a dive a little bit. I mean, not ridiculous or anything, but significant in silver's case. Not so much in gold. But, I mean, it's been all over the place between 75 and 85 last week or so. In silver's case. Gold's just kind of hovered around 5K. Group of GOP senators on the floor pushing hard for a ban on sanctuary cities to be immediately passed. Please, that would be nice. All right. Anything last minute? Man. Well, we made a valiant effort trying to get through it all. Oh, a white tent is set up at Nancy Guthrie's home in front of where she had a doorbell camera set up. Oh, they're trying to do forensics on the area, I guess. All right. Well, that's it. I'll quits there. I think Kelsey popped in at some point in the past few minutes. Oh, no, tried. Probably tried. I saw him for a moment, but sometimes he has... Oh, there, he's trying again. Sometimes he has issues connecting, so we'll give him a minute here. Let's see what this is.
The Kremlin said on Thursday that it had completely blocked WhatsApp in Russia.
If you can hear me, Elsie, just pop in when you're...
I am here.
Oh, you got it. Okay, cool.
Yep. Had a little problem.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah, I know it's rough for you sometimes when you first connect, so...
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. How you been, man? What's up?
Good. Just hanging.
Yeah.
No.
How's,
All's good. Weather.
How's the youngest? How's that all going?
Youngest, doing very well, rolling around like a bowling ball.
Nice.
So,
that's great.
yeah,
I love that time.
I think he's gonna.
That's the best.
Gonna be quick to crawl and quick to walk. He's very, very ambitious, unlike his lazy sister.
Oh,
waited forever. Just kidding.
That's funny. Hey, yeah. Sometimes they just take a while. Yeah, you know.
I think she just knew she had it good. She's like, I'm not walking until after 1 year.
Milk it. Just milk it while you can, right?
Yeah. Why walk when I can just get carried everywhere?
Exactly. Yep.
How you guys doing?
Say again. What's up?
How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing pretty good. We're chilling. You know. Yeah. Enjoying the last bits of snow as they finally melt away.
No, we've been
covered in snow for like a month straight here.
Oh, dang. Nice. Well, that's good. Have some winter.
Yep. Finally starting to warm up, so.
Yeah, well, it's getting to be that time of year soon, too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I want some warm weather for a change.
Yeah.
Please.
Nice.
Yep. All right, well, I'll let you get to it, man. You have a good show?
Good. Thank you very much. Say hi to Radix and the kid for me. You guys have a great evening, and I will see you next Thursday.
You know it, bro. Yeah.
See ya. All right, everybody. How's it going? Elsie Mac here on.
All right, you too. Okay. What do we got? We got like 30 people left. Yeah. I will be back tomorrow morning. Bright and early. 9 a.m.-ish, thereabouts. And we'll see what the end of the news week brings. Who knows? Every day seems to be interesting lately, so. Catch you guys then. Had fun. Adios. Bye-bye. I'm gonna go play some video games.